Hi everyone, today I bring you another entry in the ongoing The Hand That Feeds HQ's review Advent Calendar 2021. So this time around I am going to review Trignal's Yasashi Koe, which is a song that I haven't listened to in years, really, in years. And I miss this group a whole lot, especially because they went on a hiatus right when they were starting to turn into one of the best units out there, which is frustrating in a way. But it is understandable knowing how Tsubasa Yonaga is really putting his all in his voice and he actually can't sing right now, risking to lose his voice altogether. So that's unfortunate, but well, let's go down the memory lane for this song because it's been a long time since I last listened to Trignal's Yasashi Koe. It's a song from the album Back to Basic that was released a couple of years ago. So let's revisit this song, and in case it is your first time listening to it, I hope you guys enjoy it. Right off the bat, it sounds like a classic rock ballad. It has what you'd call a typical Queen type of guitar playing going on in there. It is emotional, it is melancholic, it hints at this song being extremely emotional. I do not remember if it is, so this is almost like my very first listen.
振り向けば誰かの声に導かれここまで来たね
So smooth. Ryohei Kimura really grew as an artist, I would say as a performer. And back then was already sounding as smooth as it is right now. Although right now you can say that he is properly raspy and smooth, honeyed almost, more so than when he was performing this song back then.
幼き日あの子守歌真夜中に語った友の声
Yonaga basically joins in the song to lullaby you, and he does so in a really gentle way.
明るい声も厳しい声だってその響きには愛が溢れた
Takuya Eguchi joins in the song to add a little bit of emotion to it, and he comes along with a piano melody, or at least the piano melody comes from the background to the spotlight when his part starts, and the piano carries over or carries everyone over to the chorus.
伝えたい伝えたいこの声に願いを込めて全てを抱きしめ合うよりそっと風が吹いた隣でささやくように優しい声で
Yes, this is a really good song. I didn't remember it, but as soon as the chorus arrives, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful ballad, and I love the dynamic on the vocals to make those emotions come to life. They are complementing each other. This is not one of those overbearing unisons. Actually, they are all performing in their comfortable vocal range, so no one is stepping on the other. You can listen to all three voices and you can tell them apart pretty easily, which is good. I'm not a big fan of those clunky unisons in which you only get to listen to one singer, and that was the only singer that the mixer decided would be the best one to have in the spotlight. You actually have the three of them in the spotlight, and all of them are doing their own thing, complementing each other and making the feelings within the chorus to stand out much more than they would do, for example, with a straight up unison in which only one of the members would be listened to and the others would be basically inaudible.
今君は何してるかないつもの笑顔で笑えてるかな会えない夜はただ寂しいけれど電話でもぬくもり感じる
This verse is completely different in dynamic because right now you not only have their voices but you have a pitch vocal that is playing below those voices. Depending on the voice tone that is in the front, the pitch vocals may be lower or higher in key, which is used to make a contrast with their voice and sound like they are harmonizing. And I really can't point with precision who is performing as the pitch vocals for each singer. They may be trading places there to cover for different ranges, but on a first listen I can't tell you that because I would have to pay extra attention to that part and repeat it plenty of times before I could tell you who is covering for whom.
伝えたい伝えたいこの声に願いを込めて全てを抱きしめ合うよりいつもつながり合える
Those strings slowly in the background, adding some emotion through legato, are a massive addition to this song. You have the vocals, of course, going up on their scale, which is interesting. This is going to culminate in the climax of the song, of course, and lead us to the bridge. Hopefully a beautiful bridge. Seeing how the song is really good up until now, I'm hoping for a beautiful bridge.
裏の声を重ねよう好きだよ好きだよこの想いを声に乗せて会いたい会いたい何度でも言うよそっと風が吹いた隣でささやくように優しい声で悔しくて眠れぬ夜
This is almost like a lullaby, like I told you in the intro. It sounds like a lullaby. It is so emotional, and somehow I want to listen to the a cappella version of this song, which is to say without an instrumental, because right now Trignell can't sing this song in a cappella because of the whole situation with Tsubasa Yonaga, but I would love to listen to this song in a cappella because the work that is being put on the vocals may not be fully appreciated because of the instrumental, and this sounds like this was the album in which Trignell started to showcase that they are really, really good. That's when their chemistry finally was out there. That's when their voices actually clicked. That's when all the singers within the group were in their groove. And Back to Basic was a really good album because of that. I remember not enjoying some of the songs, but I do have fond memories of this album.
君が支えてく し君が辛い時今度は僕がエールを送るよこの声で
That guitar solo was so simple yet so effective. And the drums were really going at it in the toms, which is to say, really bassy, really intense, really deep. It was almost like it was the culminating of those emotions going on in the lyrics. Those emotions poured out in that section. It's really, you have those feelings of care, of love, of, I would say, almost longing for someone. It's all there. It's all incredibly well put together to make you feel that way, either from the lyrics carrying over to the solo in this section. It really, really is a well put together song, and I really don't have much to add there.
伝えたいこの声に願いを込めて全てを抱きしめ合うようにいつもつながり合える僕らの声を重ねよう羽ばたけこの声を翼に乗せて開いて新しい道をそっと木々が揺れた隣で支え
Okay, Ryohei Kimura right now could pull off that note much better than he did back then. That was a bit sloppy, but still a really good note, taking into account that he was the member that was still developing his own style as a singer, and he was perfecting the way he tackled those notes and actually how he sounded as a singer. So he was still trying to figure himself out, and that note sounded a bit strangely strained. So I believe right now he would pull off that note really, really well. So that sounds a bit sloppy, but that doesn't take away any of the enjoyment I was having so far with this song.
焼くより優しい声で
Really gentle. Really, really good. It's a gentle song. Yasashi Koe is basically how to describe their voices in this song. Really gentle, really smooth. This song is almost like a lullaby. It's really different from what Trignal usually do, because they are known for their intense dance pop sound, or even the pop rock sound that they sometimes have in their music. And for this song, Yasashi Koe, the sound was completely different. It was a stripped down version of everything they were doing up until then. It was much more emotional, I should say, a bit more technical on the vocal end. As a result, they were more than up to the challenge. Minor some slight details going on in the vocals that note that Ryohei Kimura sloppily tackled was an issue back then, is not an issue right now. And those are really little details. I wouldn't say that takes away your enjoyment of this song. And this is actually a song to listen to as you sit back, relax, and let it play in the background to put a smile on your face, basically motivate you to do something, show a bit of appreciation to you, because you may want to listen to those words in the lyrics. This is a really, really good song. I would say, one of the best by Trignal. Still, I'm a bit partial to Tricolore. That's my favorite album by the trio. So I would say Back to Basic is the second best album, really next to Tricolore. This is also a song that makes me a bit nostalgic because it's been a while since we last heard about Trignal. A pity that it has been a while since we last heard from Trignal, but the situation with Tsubasa Yanaga is not easy to overcome. I do hope the best for him, and I would love to listen to this group once again, yet again. That's not easy to overcome, so I do hope the very best for him. And in the meantime, we have a nostalgic set of songs by Trignal, this being one of the very best, and it is a good display of how good this group was turning into, especially as someone that followed their debut up until that point, went through their ups and downs, and I found some of their songs to be not really my style at all, others to be really subpar from what they can actually achieve, others really, really good. Mission being a good example. I love that song. But the group has went through a couple of ups and downs in their sound, and in Back to Basic they were back to a consistency that they lacked for a couple of releases, and they were showing that they had improved a whole lot on the vocal end, which was really nice to find, and that carried over, of course, to Tricolore. That was a massive album, and it is even more frustrating that the group had to stop after such a good album. Yet, if it ever happens to be the last time that we get to listen to Trignal, that was a good way to wrap things up. If it's not, and I hope it's not, that we get to listen to them a bit more further down the lane. It is a good album to leave us waiting for more. In this case, Yasashikoe is a beautiful song. I love it. I don't remember the last time that I had listened to it, but as soon as that chorus kicked in, I knew which song this was, and I absolutely love this song. Just like when I reviewed it back then, I do feel like this is a really good song from Trignal. Really worth your time. I would say slightly befitting of this time of the year. It has that nostalgia that is commonly found during the holidays, and it has a really cozy vibe that can match those days under a blanket with a cup of cocoa. It's now available on Spotify because Kiramune was kind enough to make the whole repertoires by all their groups available worldwide for streaming this year, so that's a massive accomplishment from them. So now you can listen to Yasashikoe as many times as you want to, because the song is there, is part of Back to Basic, so you need to check that album, and it is the last track. It is a nice way to wrap up that album. It is a nice way to prepare everyone for Tricolore, and it is a really nice song to revisit. So thank you very much once again to Regina for your suggestion, and I'll see you guys soon for another entry. Thank you.